going on, everybody, and welcome back to the UTL Trucking Education Hub podcast. I'm your host, Tamaris Massengale. Have you ever accepted a trucking job because everything sounded great during the recruiting process, only to realize that the reality didn't match the promises? Maybe the miles weren't there, maybe the pay wasn't what you expected, or maybe the company just wasn't what it was advertising to be. Today, we're talking about mistakes drivers make when evaluating carriers, the red flags to watch for, and why doing your homework before signing on can save you time, money, and frustration. If you're a new driver, an experienced driver, or considering a move to a different company, this is a conversation you need to hear. Before we jump in, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode. Today's guest is Sam from Keep Trucking LLC, a flatbed carrier that understands the importance of transparency, communication, and building strong relationships with drivers. Sam has seen firsthand how drivers end up in bad situations by trusting promises instead of facts. And today, he's sharing practical advice to help drivers make smarter career decisions. Please help me welcome Sam from Keep Trucking LLC. Let's get to the trucking truth.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you today? I'm so excited to talk about this subject. You have no idea. If I can just pour my heart out to these drivers that I see go through so many things, and it affects them, it affects their pay, it affects their family, and it affects their self-confidence. And some of the ways some of the drivers are getting treated right now, it's not good. Not good. I drove for a little bit just to discover how things are in companies. And my objective here is to be honest, to be transparent, and to tell you certain things that as a driver you should look for. Right. Look, anybody is going to promise you the moon. In this conversation, when you start talking to a recruiter, the recruiter's job is to bring you on. It's a sales job. He is in sales. He is selling you. So now it's up to you to decide, is this guy telling me the truth or not? Let's talk about reviews, okay? If you look at Keep Trucking reviews, there are 4.5. We have organically about a couple hundred or something in reviews. Those are real reviews, okay? Not every company is going to be positive. Like even Amazon has some people that complain about a product or a service. Right. So if you look at a company with a 4.8, 4.7, boom, that should be your first alert. Okay, cool. Yep. That's a good company. So let's start by looking at the FMCSA score. Right. Look at their score. Ask me, Tamaris, ask me how many drivers actually know the score of the company before they get the orientation.
I'm scared to ask because I already know.
I would say less than 1%. Less than 1%. Like I would ask, hey, and like when people come to Keep Trucking, that's something I'm very proud of. Yeah. Okay. Hey, did you check us out? And I'm going to mention that because did you check us out as the as our safety score? Is our safety score good or not? Right. And you know what? I'm amazed that a lot of people don't even know where to go and check.
They don't.
Okay?
They don't.
There is a lot of companies right now. The only thing they're going to do is they're going to bring you on, use you as much as possible, and then throw you out and replace you. This is a revolving door. And what I call this, I personally have a name for it. It's a body bag business. So the consistency in the business. So you see some of the stuff you should ask, how long have you been in business?
Right.
That's number one. Okay. Can I talk to some of your drivers? Well, this talking to drivers kind of in the gray area because you never know. Okay. You never know. But there is one lady that I hired about 4 years ago. She is a military lady that told me, Sam, I loved everything that you and your team said to me, but I have been burned so many times. So what I did, this is what she did. She said, I wanted to know if your reviews are organic or made up. Mm-hmm. So what she did, she went actually to the reviews, clicked on the people's reviews, found out where she is. She went and Googled their name. She Facebooked them. She said, I talked to 4 different people, okay, from your reviews to see if this is a real review or not. And I was able to be comfortable to come to you because now, whatever you tell me, I have checked you and I know you're going to be telling me the truth. So I'm comfortable working with you. She still works for that company till this day. Okay.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I've been doing
Very wise woman. Very
that.
wise.
The issue is checking a company out. That's number one. Can you do this? Can you actually go to the reviews and go and check those reviews if they're organic or not? Now,
Right.
if you go in and see a lot of reviews are in one day, okay? So sometimes you on a company are starving for reviews and they start going to their dispatchers, to their uncles, their moms, and that happens in a day or in a week period. So if you look at the reviews and look at the dates, man, look at the dates. Are they 2 weeks here, 3 weeks there, 5 weeks now here, or is it all of them in 5-day period or 2-day period or 1-day period? That should give you a question mark. Okay.
Right.
That's where I see a lot of drivers put their effort and their soul and thinking that's going to be one thing. Okay. Thinking they're going to own a truck because they are dangling their dream. What is every driver's dream? To be an owner operator. And they actually call you an owner operator, but you're not really true owner operator because you're being controlled by every single aspect of that load or that everything that you do on a daily basis from a company. So you're not truly free to make your own choices. Other things that you want to take a look at, okay? You want to take a look at the equipment. Everybody and their mother right now is dangling what? New trucks.
Right.
589s. Guys just go, they salivate. Whenever they see 589s or W9s 2026, they just forget about everything else. They just want to go drive that. They go in there, and sometimes it's an okay company, sometimes it's not. But a lot of them stay a lot longer because, that's their dream car. It's like me coming to you in a vehicle. It's like me telling you, hey, come and join me, okay? And I'm going to give you whatever your favorite. What's your favorite car? Okay? So, whatever your favorite car is, I'm going to give that to you. Just come and join me. You
Right.
stop thinking about everything else. Oh, you've been wanting this car for a long time, so you just jump in because of it. Now, all the bad stuff start happening. You see you're not making the money. You see you're not a truly owner operator. You see you're not getting the miles. You see you're not getting the income that you want to make.
Right.
So I'm going to leave it up to you to ask some more questions if I'm missing some stuff. How about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Sam he did not come to play today, guys. He came out the gate. He did not come to play. So let's just back it up a little bit because you mentioned that your background was actually in business. So that led me to my question as to what led you to get into trucking and specifically in the flatbed space.
Perfect. For years, I was in sales. And, I worked for myself. I had my own business. I worked as a mortgage broker. From there, I worked with a cricket company, actually, with the franchisees. I ran 57 stores in several different states. And when that position was basically coming to an end, I was looking for something.
Okay.
And I did not know what to do. I was in my early 40s, I think, and I'm like, okay, married, I have kids, and I see this job that I'm making good money on. I don't think it's going to continue because the people that were there were selling the business. So I had to look for something. Mm-hmm. And I start, I never apply for jobs ever in my life. I always use my contacts. I think if you don't have contacts in life, you cannot move ahead. That's so right. I start calling people. And I see a trend of people just going into this trucking business. So I'm like, okay, what is this trucking business all about? Mm-hmm. Okay. So for a year, I was working as a in-home salesperson. You go into your house and you sell you shingles, windows, and I was good at that. But I did not like the fact that you're pressuring people to do contracts in one day. So that kind of I wanted to get out of there. My cousin out of Dearborn, Michigan, he is in the business. He bought a couple of trucks. He had a partner, and I just thought, okay, let me go travel there, sit down a couple of days, and go through everything with him. So I've asked so many questions. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, in order for me to get into this business, I have to drive. If I don't drive, I'm not going to understand. If I don't understand, I cannot run a business, or I cannot own a truck, or I cannot do anything. So, and I really firmly believe this. If you are an owner of this business and you have never driven a truck, it's gonna catch up to you. So I've decided to get my CDL, pass the first time, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I was lucky enough to get hired by a company out of Chicago, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They did not look at my background. I did not understand that you had to have experience, all that stuff. I was wet, I was green, just right coming out. And this company got me in, okay? And then I was lucky enough, to understand the business because I was asking questions. What's the difference between this thing called dry van, this thing called flatbed, or
Right.
reefer? What is this? What is this all about? So I remember I talked to an older gentleman. Okay, I was actually going to truck stops to interview drivers to understand how much money they making. I mean, some of the money that I was told back then was not really true, but at least opened up my eyes. Okay,
Yeah.
and the guy said to me, Sam, you want to specialize. You
Mm-hmm.
want to specialize. And it's the best specializing that you should look at. You should look at flatbed and look at a step deck. And after you do a step deck, look at RGNs. So I'm like, what the hell? Excuse my language. I said, what the heck is the step deck? I mean, I literally had to do research.
Yeah.
I literally had to sit in front of my computer and go, what is flatbed? What is dry van? What is the difference? What is the difference in pay? What
Yeah.
is the cents per mile? I mean, like before I even walked into the business, I checked everything in and out. So my idea was for me to get into the trucking side by owning trucks. I said, if I'm going to own trucks, let me go into trucking. So I drove, I learned, I drove for about a year and a half. Okay. And then I got connected with a gentleman. He changed my life. My kid's age. He was my kid's age.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. My older kid, he is his age. Very ambitious young man, had 40 trucks, and I loved him. And he said, Sam, I love your energy. I love the way that you are. You've been driving for me for 6 months. How about we just stop for you driving? How about you come and work for us as a recruiting manager? Because we need to bring drivers. And because I was actually bringing him drivers while I was on the road. I was talking to drivers and passing on to them. He said, instead of you doing that, let's go ahead and give you that position. He gave me a good offer. I said, you know what? Let's go. While I was doing my research, I understood there's two nuggets in this business.
Yeah.
And please forgive me. I'm not belittling the dispatchers. I'm not belittling the safety department. No, because all these are follow-ups for if you don't have what I'm going to tell you, you're not going to have the business to build around them. So the two nuggets I found out is loads and drivers. If you have loads, you're golden. And if you have drivers, you're golden.
Right.
Because if you have those two, you can build a company around those two. You can get trucks. You can get dispatchers. You can get dispatch services. You can get safety ladies, or you can get safety services. So there's so many things you can do. And
Right.
that's my story behind the trucking business. Okay. And we got in and we just rocked and rolled, madam. We killed it. We kept understanding. And through the process, I had to actually put some rules and regulations for the recruiting because
Yeah.
there's a book called Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten. Okay. One of the statements that stuck in my head is called, anybody can sell anything to anybody for one time. The difference between great salespeople and an average salesperson or a regular salesperson is the comebacks, or the people that come back to you. Okay. So if you can understand that, okay, you understand what bait and switching is, you understand don't lie to drivers, don't embellish, don't go into the gray area, because you know what you're doing if you go into the gray area. You're trying to give them a different story from the truth, because you're trying to give them open-ended ways for them to think, so they can think a certain way instead of a certain way without you. That's called deception. And
Right.
there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that, especially when it comes into recruiting, because you have a lot of people that one thing that you should ask, are you a recruiting, in-house recruiting, or are you a recruiting services?
Right.
There's a lot of difference. There's
Right.
a lot of difference because if you are in-house recruiting, that means my guys are in-house recruiting, okay? Meaning what? They have to go through the rules and regulations, one company and one company only. If you have a recruiting service, you become like a toss-up. They're gonna try to see where they're gonna fit you, or they're gonna send you to 4 or 5 different companies and see who hire you. Whoever hires you, that might not be good, and then they're gonna go make commission off there. Then they can take you from one spot to another spot, making another commission on you, then another spot. So that means you become a commodity, not a driver. When you become a commodity, okay, you are not treated as a driver. You are treated as where is the money going to come from and how many drivers I can fit into that company. Okay.
Absolutely.
So
I
these are the
definitely agree with that thought process. And that is one of the biggest complaints that I see throughout the industry as well on social media. And I believe that thought process and that experience is what's causing individuals to veer away from transportation as a whole, or the comments that you hear that trucking is dead and, you know, don't get into trucking. But it's those types of experience that you just illustrated that causes individuals to feel like this isn't something that they want to get into. With that being stated, what are the biggest mistakes drivers make when choosing a company that you've seen in your industry or in your specific lane?
one thing is the biggest mistake is they don't do a background check. They don't check on the companies. They don't. That's one of the biggest things. And one of the biggest mistakes they make is they come unprepared to leave.
Okay.
I need you to understand this. And I understand people have issues and financial difficulties and financial issues, but if you are keeping your faith, so what usually happens if you get recruited, okay, some companies, majority of the companies will buy you a bus ticket, will buy you a plane ticket, or will rent you a car. And at Keep Trucking, we don't give you a bus ticket. We will rent you a car, okay? We'll rent your car one way. We have accounts, or we can fly you, okay? And we'll take care of you from, the only thing we ask you to do is to get yourself into the airport, okay? As soon as you land in O'Hare, you have nothing to worry about. You are taken care of from A to Z. Now, let me ask you a question. Now, with us as Keep Trucking, if we feel that at orientation something happened or you don't qualify, we rarely have that because we do our due diligence before they get here. But if that happens, and it happens once in a great while, 1 out of 30 drivers, that you don't qualify or you don't like what you hear, okay? So what I've seen a lot of drivers do, they just sit because they have no way of going back. So I'm here already. There's nothing I can do. And then they get into this company that they really don't want to be in. And then all of a sudden, okay, they're not making the money. Nothing was promised, okay, that was delivered. So there was beta switching. They told you they're going to give you a 589, that all of a sudden they give you a Freightliner. They told you they're going to give you a 2026. They're giving you 2016. So nothing was said to you was 100%. Or they give you, if you're a lease driver, they give you a lease contract and they don't want you to read it, okay? They just want you to sign. You can read it later. That should be a ding, 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 the big flag.
Absolutely.
You should, if you're a lease driver, you should ask the company this. Could you forward me the contract before I get there? If they say no to you, do not go.
Say that again.
One more time. If they say that no to you, do not go. What do you think is going to happen? They're hiding something.
All right.
Okay, and I'm going to talk to you about now some of the mistakes drivers are committing right now, and they're forcing companies to appeal to their wishes.
Yeah.
A lot of drivers right now are calling me. I had a conversation with a driver yesterday. I'm making $3,500 a week to $4,000 a week, and I don't like this company. I'm like, what? I said, sir, do you know how many people make over $100,000 a year in this country? It's about less than 5% of the population makes that less than $100,000 a year. And those people are making $100,000 a year. They're doing something different than the other 95%. So what are you doing? What are you bringing to that company differently? Not just because the market is good, not just because the rate is good right now. Okay, what are you bringing to the company for you to deserve to make that much money? And you should see some of the attitudes I get. Dude. Okay, let me break it down to you. If you telling me, can I break it down? Do you mind if I break it down?
Okay? No, because I just had this conversation with someone the other day about the unrealistic expectations of what this industry will provide. This is a hands-on, dirty, grimy industry, and it's been because you see individuals on social media that integrate trucking with lifestyle that they think is just simple. Yes, you can make really good money in this industry. You really can. However, it's going to take you being at the bottom and working yourself at the top. And that's what people want to skip over. They want to skip over the bad companies that you're going to have to go through before you get to the good one. Or you get in your CDL, you don't have any experience, and you can't really get on with the company you dreamt in your mind. And then you get there, or you get with the company, and like you just illustrated how they fed you all this hogwash, and then you got there and none of that was true. But that's part of the process. Like, you have to get your experience somewhere before you can get to the owner operator position. So everything that you're saying is resonating, and is definitely a conversation, that a hard truth that no one really talks about on these platforms. And I commend you 1,000 times for even coming on and even expressing the naked truth about what it takes. And I love the fact that you keep illustrating how there's ownership on both parts. You, as the person that holds the CDL, should be doing your due diligence and researching before you say yes. And you, as the hiring recruiter of that company, if it's your own company, or if you're investing in services from people like yourself, you should still be doing your due diligence to make sure that this is someone that is going to not only take care of your equipment, but that's going to properly represent your brand. Because remember, when your driver is pulling up to the shipper or the manufacturer or your client or whatever the case may be, and your driver is jumping out the truck, they're not looking like that's the driver that's a horrible driver. They're looking, that's a horrible company. They're representing your company. So on the side of your truck, if it's your logo, your business information, and your driver is jumping up out of the truck looking like they just woke up, then that's the reason that individuals don't call you back, or they don't offer you a contract, because they're looking at your representation. So I think I appreciate you illustrating that, because more people need to understand that outside of the compliance, outside of purchasing the equipment, you have to think about your business as a business. This is not a hobby. It's much more than getting an LLC and getting your authority. It is a business. So if Coca-Cola gave you a cardboard box and it had dents in it and it just said Coke in crayon, would you actually buy it?
Nope.
No, that's not the brand that they worked on. They worked on their coloring, how they designed the bottle, the uniforms of their employees, the trucks, all of that you have to take in consideration. And in this day and time with AI readily at your fingers, there's no excuse for you not to understand branding. And that takes me into my next series of questions is, why do some companies overpromise and underdeliver?
Oh, they need to fill these trucks. Look, I worked in an environment that was high pressure, that there was a high turnover. Mm-hmm. Let me just, I'm not gonna, never going to mention the name of the company, but I'm going to get to this. So we started with 70 trucks, okay? And on a 70 truck based company, you should not replace more than 10 a month, 7 to 10 a month. But that particular company was all the way up to 30, 35 drivers a month, and they were growing as well. Okay. So there was a high turnover rate. Okay. When you see a company that has 70, 80, 100, 150 trucks, but you have a class of 15 drivers and there is 2 classes minimum a week, that should be a question mark.
Right. Yeah.
That should be a question mark.
Yeah.
If you walk in and you have a gut feeling something's wrong, there's going to be something wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. But you need to be, as we talked about, you do your due diligence. You should not even be there, and you should ask all the questions. The big things, over promising and under delivering. This is a sales call, and this is tied to commission. A lot of the recruiters, okay, not with my company. My company has base plus bonuses. There's a difference. Right. There's a total different way of looking at things when you do it that way. Then, because you have your livelihood. Those guys that have 100% commission or high commission, their livelihood is based on that. It's based on you going in and sit and be seated. They don't get paid until you are seated and you picked up the first load. They're going to do whatever they can to get you on. So if you want to go buy a car today, that the salesperson is going to do whatever he can to sell you that. This is what they tell you. What can I do today to have you buy this vehicle? What can I do? What can I jump through? So that's exactly what I do. So when you start feeling this is more than a sales call, okay, that information. See, I instruct my recruiters to give them information.
That's right.
Give them information. And sometimes they are not the right fit for us.
Right.
We're not the right fit for them. And what I tell every driver when I first call them, hey, Mr. Smith, my name is Sam. I'm the hiring manager for Keep Trucking. My initial phone calls, I usually like to make the phone calls myself in the morning, at the leads. So let's have a conversation about that first before we talk about money, numbers, anything else.
Right.
What does that mean, Sam? It means home time, money expectation, routing, where you want to go. These are more important than just the truck itself, because if I can answer these things, and then if I can give you a decent truck, we'll give you a decent income that's going to take care of you and your family, you're going to come here. So why is it our drivers don't leave us? And if they do leave, they come back.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It started with Keep Trucking LLC. It started with a person called Greg, the name of the owner. Okay. He is the ace in the hole. He's my ace. Like, he is part of my orientation. Like, I made sure he's part of my orientation. He sits down and talks to drivers for 20 to 30 minutes. And I am not in the office with him. He takes them to his office. Sometimes he orders lunch. If we have 1 or 2 drivers, he have one-to-one conversation with them and ask them, hey, this is what to expect from us. Because you have drivers that come in with step deck expectations. They might not want to tarp for too much, thinking doing a step deck. He tells them the truth. Right. And they tell him, hey, the reason why we stay with you is because of you. And the reason because we stayed, now you can stay in the company because of one person, but the actions of that person and the promises of that person, have they been delivered?
Right.
Okay? That's what you need to see. Okay. Right. Some of the other mistakes that people do is this: they don't ask about the rate per mile. If I am going to go into a percentage, that's what a lot of people should do right now, and don't do miles, I think. If I want to do percentage, okay, what is your rate per mile? Because you have a lot of companies that are going to say, I'm going to give you 34%, 40%. I'm not, numbers don't make sense when they do this. I'm going to tell you what usually happens when people go over them, okay? So if I am going to do, let's say 30%, 10,000 miles a week, okay? $10,000 a week. So how did you get to $10,000 a week? What is your rate per mile? What is your average company rate per mile? And when you sit down with the dispatcher, what is your average company? What is yours? Not just the company, because you can have company with a 3.2 average for the whole company, but you have a dispatcher that has a 4. They're bringing somebody weak up. Okay. So these are questions I never hear about. Do you know what I heard when I was working for a leasing company? What kind of trucks and how long? Average company charges them. They have to, okay, because they pay interest. Some of the stuff that I see is this. I'm like, so you're gonna get this truck within 6 years. What is, nobody even understands what is the projected value of your truck after 6 years. So you're gonna spend $300,000 paying for somebody else's truck. You're not truly an owner operator.
That's right.
Okay. They tell you where to go. They give you the loads. You have no options to refuse them. And then you're gonna end up owning this truck. Let me give you the percentage of how many people actually own trucks when it comes into leasing. Do you know what percentage, madam? Less than 1%.
That's true. That's true. And I've heard a lot of horror stories behind that lease purchasing. And I believe it's a couple of companies right now that's under fire that's being sued behind those contracts
There's a
because
lot of companies.
yeah.
This is just the beginning, madam.
Yeah, that is, yeah, I've heard a lot.
Leasing. There's a lot of predatory leasing. Now let me take it from the other side though. Let me take it from the other side. Companies that are good companies, that they have good leases.
Yeah.
So what usually happens, you have drivers, they know the market. They've been doing this for a long time. They know the upscale is not going to last for a long time. It could last 6 months. It could last a year.
Yeah.
So when this market hits like this, they leave their company as a company driver where they were guaranteed cents per mile.
Yeah.
And then they jump into another company, lease company. They use them, and then they give them the truck back because it's a walk-away lease. Anytime you don't have to be penalized when you leave,
yeah,
you are not up to your full potential. Meaning what? If I got a contract that said, if I sign a mortgage contract today, can I just leave anytime I want? No, because that's a contract, right? If I have a lease contract with my vehicle, I'll go to Ford today, I'll lease a vehicle, okay? If I walk away from that lease, what happens to my credit? It gets destroyed, right? So what makes you think if you can walk away from a $200,000 lease, okay, it's going to be okay? Yeah, it's going to be okay. That means you can walk away. That means what? The person that set that rule, the one is benefiting, not you. I love the fact some companies now, we are not doing walk-away lease. We're going to do a $5,000 deposit on this lease. Because if you actually come from your own money to put down on a lease, and there are some great companies in the Chicagoland that's doing that. And actually the lease is at 2.5, 3 years. That makes sense to me. See, if you want to lease a vehicle, why would you want a brand new vehicle?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to be an owner operator. Well, if you're 40, you're not going to be an owner. You're not going to be a truly owner operator until you're 45. By the time you get to 45, you need another 1 year or 2 years until you get your business together. You need to add more trucks. You need to add more, one truck could be good. 5 trucks is better, but it doesn't mean if it's not run right, it's not going to be better.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of guys get their own authority. Okay. I've seen a lot of guys do whatever they need to do to provide for their family, but they fail because they don't do the research. They don't
understand what
they don't understand the business.
Yeah,
they don't run the trucks. They don't even know what the operating cost is.
No, they don't. That's an alarm. It's at an alarming rate when you hear people, especially with me coming from the dispatching side, when individuals call and they're like, "Oh, I need to make $5,000 a week." Okay, but is that the number you really need to make, or is that the number that you want to make? There's a difference, because $5,000 a week for me, if I own all of my equipment, I work from home, I have my own CDL, so I'm not paying a driver. $5,000 per week would be gravy for me, but for you, you got overhead, you have a parking lot that you have to store your truck at, you have a driver because you don't have your CDL. That might not actually be the right number for you. So That's why, again, I was pushed into this space to start using my knowledge and my resources and my relationships to bring individuals like yourself to come and speak about the naked truth and teach people before you jump out here, whether you are an owner operator or you are a driver and you're going to lease on or you're going to drive on with someone, you need to understand what you're committing to. Don't be tricked by the dangling carrot, which is the pay, because that doesn't make sense if what you have to do to get it is either you're breaking even or you're actually in the red. So you want to make sure you're understanding what you're committing yourself to. And not only that, but do your due diligence. Call and talk to them. Research the company. See if their corporation is even in a good standing. Do you know how many individuals in this industry that their LLC is not even active? It's they don't have an LLC. They're just calling it a, such and such LLC. It doesn't even exist, right? You want to make sure that they're not in litigation. That's a big red flag. You want to research their business in your state to make sure that they're not currently in court. Because guess what? If they're fighting in court, there's a high probability they're going to be playing with your money. So you're working for free. I can't tell you how many people that unfortunately go to these companies and they put their trust in them that they're going to look out for their best interest. But this is a business. I'm going to be looking out for me first. You're second. I got to take care of my house. I got to take care of my kids first. That might sound ugly. That might sound, cold or harsh, but it's the truth. In business, I have to look out for the well-being and the health of the business. Otherwise, nobody's getting paid, even me. Within the industry that's open-ended like trucking is, they're doing their best to try to regulate it and place back in place things that we should have been doing from day one. They got away from it. It got wild. It blew up. But now they're in the process.
They're getting back.
They're
Look,
trying.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I'm very happy about that. I'm very happy that I see rules and regulations again. Look, every single person that owns a trucking company that's a legitimate company that's running the right way, they want to see, because these guys have an unfair advantage. The guys that fix the logs, they have an unfair advantage on us because they're doing illegal stuff to earn more money.
That's right.
Okay? And so that driver, and this is a subject that really, really bothers me a lot. Because usually those companies, madam, have 2 and 3 MCs. Okay. So if one MC gets bad, they don't care. They're going to switch it over. They're going to tell you, hey, man, we don't no longer use XYZ. We're going to use this company name. And they're going to ask you to come in, change the stickers and put a different sticker name with different MC number, because that MC split was running while that one was running. Okay. Yeah. But remember, Mr. or Mrs. Drivers, you only have one driver's license.
Right.
If you get caught, especially now, manipulating logbooks, there is no place for you at Keep Trucking.
Yeah.
And there is no place for you at a lot of different companies.
That's why I'm glad FMCSA, even though it's chaotic right now, them switching their platform and they're using the Modus system, Modus platform. I'm really, me personally, I know it's causing a lot of chaos for individuals and they're going, it's a headache. But when there's a major transition with so many different moving parts to it, it's always going to be some chaos. But I'm glad they're doing this, because that is going to stop that. That's going to stop them from being able to do that. And it's going to require individuals to be compliant, which you should be. You should be compliant. You should have a compliant sector of your trucking business. Whether you're hiring someone like my company or you have someone on your team that does it, you need to have someone that is dedicated to the FMCSA and DOT and to the government, staying focused on what they're doing, the new changes, and they're shifting, because there's a lot happening at one time. So it's imperative that you are compliant and you follow the rules, because they are not playing with you. And each state, let's be clear, DOT, even though it's one governing entity, but each state operates differently. So you need to not think, oh, well, I went through Alabama, they didn't say anything. Yeah, but now you're in Texas, so they're going to say something. So you need to make sure that your logs are accurate. If you're having issues with getting into your Modus account to verify your actual authority, then you need to get with someone like my company, or you need to get with or make a day of actually sitting on the phone to get through someone so you can get your documentations and be accurate. It is so very, very important. The next question, and I know we got to wrap it up a little bit. The next question I want to talk about is, what's one thing that you see drivers are asking or demanding consistently, and to debunk the myths that are floating around while they're asking it? For example, they, well, I only want to make X, Y, and Z, and I want to stay within this ramification.
Yes. No, absolutely. You get a lot of guys, I want to do local. Okay, cool. Local is fine. There's a lot of companies local, but I want to make $2,500 a week. That's not going to happen. Okay. You got a guys, you got a guy, I'm only going to be south of 40. I don't want to go to, our company goes to East, South, and Midwest. That's our concentration. We go to West Coast once in a while. We have a couple of customers that we deal with. We just acquired another customer out of Arizona, and we're doing 10 loads a week with them right now to start. We just grabbed that a couple of days ago. I'm very happy. So, guys, so that when somebody tells me, okay, I want to be south of 40 and I want to make this much, or I don't want to, I want to step deck, but I don't want to tarp. I mean, you are in a flatbed business.
Right.
Tarping, if you don't want to tarp, get a Conestoga. I have a Conestoga, my man. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So I'm 58 years old. I'm not going to be able to deal with tarping if I ever drove again. Like when I go to the yard, I don't even touch the tarps. I'm like, no.
Right.
Let the young man, I don't want to say, but
right, exactly.
Pick it up. I ain't gonna pick it up and put it on nowhere. I'm not doing it. Okay? Even chains don't even carry it.
Right.
So the age has its, you have to respect age. So if you get to the point that you don't want to tarp, you cannot think if you come into a step deck, you're never going to tarp. You know that, madam. You dispatch guys. Yeah. And how many times, because they are doing a step deck, they think, oh, why do I have to tarp? Okay. If you got to this level and you're starting to don't want to do this, look, and I'm going to tell you, I feel bad for you guys dispatchers, because they don't get it. Some of the drivers, sometimes, my apology, but the drivers don't get what you guys go through. When you book a load, when a driver tells you, obviously you're dealing with 5, 6, 7, 10 drivers, whatever, how many drivers you have, okay? And you have a priorities. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that checked in. Whoever checked in early, whoever is ready, whoever is available, you're gonna start booking loads for them, right? So you first thing in the morning, and then a lot of them don't know that you guys start a lot earlier than anybody else, okay? Not with me because I'm here all the time, but a lot of our dispatchers, sometimes I come in at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, they're here. They're here. They're not even home. They're here because they have to load you because they know you just unloaded. Anyways, if a driver tells a dispatcher, I'm ready, means you're ready for everything that we've already discussed. There's no reason for you to come back halfway through the game and tell me I don't want to tarp. You've already talked about it. Right. We've already discussed it. We've already agreed on it. Now, when I am booking a broker or a customer or somebody that I have a relationship with, a load, and I already have the rate confirmation, I already have the documentation signed and everything. And then when you're supposed to go pick up that load and you tell me, I don't want to take that up. I don't want that load. Look for something else for me. Big problem happens to you guys, to the company, is now you have to backpedal. Now you have to start, who is going to cover this load? Now you have 6 other drivers that you're trying to cover, but you can't because now you have a load that you have to cover because you've already promised the guy that you have a relationship that load is going to be picked up at 12 o'clock and it's 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock and nobody's going to pick it up. And now all of a sudden your Friday is shot, and now 2, 3 other drivers Friday is shot because one driver decided to renege on what he already agreed on. And these are the things I see. Okay.
Absolutely.
Drivers not telling you they're going to be late when they know they're going to be late. When in my orientation, I tell them, guys, If you're late, stuff like this happens.
Yeah.
If you're supposed to deliver at 12 o'clock and you know you're going to be late at 9 o'clock in the morning or the day before, should you let your dispatcher know so they can do what they need to do to help you out so you don't have an issue?
Yeah.
Because they can do that. But at 12 o'clock or at 11 o'clock to tell me you're going to be 2 hours late, that's not acceptable.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
these are the things. These are things. Now, the successful drivers, I'm going to tell you, the drivers that make the most money are the drivers I don't never have to talk to, or they never call me.
Yep.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yep.
The drivers that call me all the time, they usually are an average or below average driver. They're complaining about this, or emotionally this, or they need to do that, or they just don't have a plan, or they just let things happen to them, so they are reactionary. They react.
Yes. Yeah.
So nobody have a plan. A lot of guys don't have a plan. But
Yeah.
remember one thing in sales, in general, in any business, 20% of the people make you 80% of the money. 80% of the people will make you 20% of the money. So in general, when you have 100 drivers, you're going to have your top 10, your top 20. You're going to have your mid-range. You're going to have your low range.
Right.
Okay. And those, as a company, you need to figure out how to deal with that. So
Exactly.
this is my answer to that question.
Exactly. Well, I love the answer. It was very detailed and to the point. So this is my fun sector of the interview. It's called the lightning round. So I'm going to throw out two words, and
Okay,
you
go ahead.
pick either one. And then I'm going to ask a series of questions, and you give me your response off the top of your head.
Madam.
All right. So the first one is flatbed or dry van?
Flatbed.
Favorite truck stop?
I would have to say anywhere on 80. You know.
180. Okay. All right. We'll take that. We'll take that. Best trucking advice you've ever received?
When you stop learning, that's when things go bad. The mind is like a parachute. It does not work unless it's open. Keep your mind open, young man. That's what an old 75-year-old man told me when I first started. Keep your
Wow.
mind open, young man. The mind is like a parachute. It does not work unless it's open. We all have one. Open it up so you can learn. Listen and don't talk. That's what he kept telling. That's the advice, and that's what I use all the time right now with the trucking industry.
Absolutely. Most overrated thing in trucking?
589s and W9, the type of truck.
Most underrated thing in trucking?
Freightliners.
Freightliner.
If you are a company owner, okay, and you're looking at our fleet, and you're looking at diesel, and you're looking at consumption, see, that's where it comes business and numbers make sense. Mm-hmm. Unless you are a heavy hauler, you shouldn't be driving a 589 or W9. To me, it's my opinion, okay? Because if you have 100 trucks and 100 589s, or if you have 50 trucks with 50 Freightliners, you're going to make more money on the 50 Freightliners than the 589s.
There you go. Free game.
It's just because of the diesel usage, you know?
Yeah.
Because you can get almost up to 8 miles a gallon on the Freightliner. On the 589s, it could be 6.5, 6.9, 6.8, maybe 7. And that can be a lot of money in a long run.
Okay. Yeah. Doesn't sound like it's a lot, but that little bit of difference does make a big
difference. This is a penny business. This is not a dollar business. This is a penny business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's pennies that makes you the dollars. It's not the dollars that makes you the hundreds. It's the pennies that makes you the dollars, that makes you the hundreds, that makes you the.
That's right. That's right. So I have the second segment is fun facts. So you mentioned you've met Muhammad Ali twice. Tell us about that story.
I was
in person.
It's amazing. It was, to me, I was in school. I'm not sure whether back when he was still around, like when he was still in his health.
Yeah.
I went to Eastern Michigan University. That's when I went to school. Okay. I was living in the dorms, just a young guy, driving. I remember I had to go to, and all that by chance. I remember I had to go to the bookstore to look for something. Okay. And then when I was coming out of the bookstore, literally, I will never forget that. Was walking down, and there is this limousine with a bunch of people coming out.
Mhm.
And I literally faced him face to face, just like that. Okay. Face to face, just like that. I did not know what to say. I did not what I mean. You don't understand. I mean, I grew up watching Muhammad Ali. My
Right.
jaw dropped. Then all of a sudden, I wanted to say something. A guy came in between us. Then, hey, can I get a signature? Can I get a signature? Okay. So, and he did. He signed something for me, and I have it laminated. And it's actually it's in my dad's safe overseas in Kuwait. Okay.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and the second time was at Eastern Michigan again, like 6 weeks later. I think he had some sort of an event going on over there, and I met him that way, but I did not cross path that way. He was on the ground, he was on the street with this. That's how I know him. That's how I met him twice.
Oh, wow.
That's all.
Wow. That is amazing. Oh my gosh. I would have did the same thing. Like,
I was baffled. It was amazing to me because I
yeah,
remember when I was a kid, we would get up early and watch black and white Muhammad Ali, and we had to go and get somebody had to go on the roof and fix the antenna to get it because it was broadcast from a different country. It was amazing. But these are memories that we have.
wow. 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 Well, you've been amazing. I have one last question for you. And I wanted to ask if a driver is watching this episode and considering a new company right now, what's the one thing they should do before making a decision?
Slow down. Please slow down. Please listen between the lines.
Yeah.
Not because they have a 589, not because they have a W9, not because they have brand new trucks, it's going to be a good company. Trust me. And if you see people jumping up and down and pushing hard, something going on with that company. Something's happening. They need drivers. They have high turnover. And I'm going to say one last thing, madam. Okay. I need you to understand this. This is in the industry.
Yeah.
2027, there's going to be new equipment, new things, new safety stuff that's going to be on trucks that's going to drive the trucks prices an additional $20,000 and $30,000 more.
Jeez.
So in 2026, a lot of companies decided they're going to start buying as many trucks as possible, so they don't have to, it'll be cheaper for them than waiting until the 2027 models. Okay. So there is a lot of companies with bought 50 trucks, 60 trucks, 70 trucks, anticipating they're going to fill them out 2, 3 months or 4 months, whatever it is. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of companies, and the business is good. Right now, the industry is good. So even if you're an average driver, you should be earning money. So slow it down,
Yes.
do your due diligence, and ask questions and ask other people and ask to speak with drivers and don't make your decision just because the guys on the phone knows how to sell people, because I can sell
Right.
you anything. I'm very good, and I can sell everybody anything, and I can bring drivers like that.
Yeah.
But I want you to know the truth, and what is the truth. Okay.
Abs-
Find out what's going on with the company.
I appreciate that. And that is a very heartfelt statement, I believe, which is especially when we're living in the stage in this date and time where everything is right now, yesterday, today, right now, I gotta have it today. So I appreciate you making time today. You dropped so many nuggets. I hope individuals that run across this video really take it to heart. This is real, true, unfiltered, the naked truth of what this industry is requiring of you and how you can be successful. You can make really good money.
There's a lot of people making great living. There's a lot of people
Oh
taking
yeah.
care of families. There's a lot of people are putting their kids through college. There's a lot of people having nice cars. Wives don't work. There is this business could be your salvation for a
Yep.
lot of stuff if you treat it the right way. If you treat it as a business.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the major key factors to remember is that this is a business. So you need to treat it as such. So Sam, I have enjoyed you. I hope that you will join us another
I'm gonna
time.
give you, let's talk about SAP drivers next time. How about that?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
That's a favorite subject of mine. I love it.
Yes, absolutely. You've been great, great, great. Individuals that may be looking for your services or maybe want to mentor or maybe want to come aboard and support what you're doing, how can they find you?
Madam, they can always find me on TikTok, Keep Trucking LLC. My name is Sam, S-A-M, Serhane, Serhane. You can find me on a bunch of my platform, my social media platform is open. I have no problems giving people advice. I believe the more I give, the more I get. God has been great to me, and it's been fantastic to me. And the reason why is people have given me advice. It's I am a vessel to give that advice to a newer person. Is nothing better to me than to find a new driver that walks in here and I see them develop and I see them, earning and learning and turning and becoming something better, not just a driver. I've helped people become dispatch managers, open up their own companies, sort like this. I have no problems. Give it. Okay. The
Right.
only thing I ask is click like and follow this
Yep.
young lady, and you're gonna see us, and she's gonna put my names on it, and gladly I'll be more than glad to do that. I'd love to do that.
Absolutely. Sam, again, I thank you so very much for joining me and my UTL Trucking Education Hub family. You have been tuned in for another amazing episode. And in closing, you can make excuses or you can make progress, but usually you can't make both. Now that's the fucking truth. Until next time, thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care now.